It is June 10th, 2019. It's Founders Day in AA, the very beginning of recovery, 85 years ago to this very day. It's 28 years, 11 months, and 16 days since I masturbated, had an affair. And this is from Mighty Mac in San Francisco and Oliver in Iceland, wanting to know about codependency and relationships, how to do healthy, sexual, romantic, loving relationships. So relationships are like anything. You learn. Each band you're in, you get better. Every time you go to another school, you get better. Get another degree, you get better. Every time you do more push-ups, you get better. Relationships are exactly the same way. And every one I got into, I wanted that to be the only and last one from then on, but it just wasn't the way it was. So my next relationship, I would meet the woman who would be my second wife. And it was, I was going into a long period of chastity, and I was hanging out with monks. At that point, I started to be sponsored by Catholic monks because at that point, I had done chastity so much, so many times. I don't know, I guess I was in my 9th or 10th period at that point of doing chastity, that there wasn't anybody in the S fellowships who had more experience than me. And by that point, there was only one other person who had more sexual sobriety time, and he hated me, so he wouldn't talk to me, and I didn't talk to him. We were both kind of pouting like little children. So I had to go out and find, this monk said to me, "Steve, you need professionals," because chastity was really interesting to me. So I came home from a monastery from 4 in the morning where I was meeting my sponsor, and I stopped by a 7 a.m. OA, Overeaters Anonymous meeting that I had never been to. And there was the prettiest woman there you had ever seen. She wasn't sexy like a porn star, but she was the prettiest woman you have ever seen in all the 12 steps. And she came up to me after the 7 a.m. meeting and said, "Steve, I had a dream about you last night." And I said, her name was A. I said, "A, tell me about it." And so she talked for 25 minutes and told me her dream. And at the end of the dream, I just lowered my glass and said, "How old are you?" Which was an odd question, she thought. But I just wanted to make sure that the woman I was going to marry was old enough, because I could tell she knew things about me that even my sponsor didn't know. That I wouldn't have told anybody, and it was revealed to her in a dream. And I thought, okay, this is God talking to you, Steve. This is your next partner. And I wasn't looking for somebody. I was pretty content being sexually sober, but God put somebody in my life. And A and I learned from T to not be sexual for a while, and we were not sexual for another 3 months. We were chaste for 3 months. We saw each other every day, but we didn't have sex because I wanted to bond with her, and we did. And I ended up marrying her, and we were married for 5 years. And for the first 2.5 years, it was the healthiest relationship, one of the 3 healthiest relationships I'd ever seen in my life at that point. We actually wrote a book. I wrote a book about it, about healthy relationships, and it was emotionally present, and it was connected, and it was sexual, and we had all kinds of things. She was really good at money, and so was I. And we were able to buy a house, a brand new house, and pay a third of it down in 2 years, just with the way we managed our money. And if you don't think money is important in a relationship, remember this: 80% of marriages in America end because of money. And she and I were excellent at that. We were both 12-steppers, and so we had that to share. We were both working on our food, which was very important to me then and to her, and still is to me now. At this point, I guess it may be to her. And so it was a really good, I wanted to be married. I wanted to know what it was like to be married in recovery and be sober. And by that time, by 98, I guess I was 8 years sexually sober. Probably I'd done my 10th celibacy period. I'd been 4 relationships previously, and I had some idea how to do this. So I wanted to take the next step, and we got married. And we were married for 5 years. It was lovely. It was good to be married, and good to own a house, and good to we led groups together, coupleship groups on how to be healthily sexual with other groups, called Recovering Couples Anonymous, RCA. And then something surprised me. It ended. And what baffled me was I thought, well, if God made this happen, why did God make it end? And something I learned is just because God makes it start doesn't mean it's going to last forever. Because God will give you the opportunity, but both people have to do the work. And the truth is, after 2.5 years, she just didn't want to work that hard. She just didn't. She just stopped trying. My daughter, who's now a professional psychotherapist, went to visit her a number of years ago and said, "What happened?" And the best that my daughter can ascertain, and the best that I can ascertain, she just got tired. To be in a relationship, you got to work. And she just stopped. And that was the end of that relationship. And it was heartbreaking. And, I used to go down to the Marina Green, and to the water and said, I can't stop loving you, I made up my mind. You know, all these heartbreakingly sad, I'd be crying crocodile tears, and I was boo-hooing, just snot running out of my nose. It was nasty and ugly, and I had had enough, and but I knew I had a secret weapon, and the weapon was I could go back into chastity. So I did, and I went in for 4 years, and that's when I cured poise. I didn't know that was a cure. I had no idea. It had affected me, not so much with A, but it affected me with T a great deal. It had ruined the J relationship and the previous ones. It had destroyed 2 or 3 relationships. And I just went in and I didn't have sex with anybody for 4 years. My longest chastity period. And somehow,